Hey everyone, I am Miss Hu, your physics teacher. So this video is on energy store and energy transfer. What we will be learning specifically are the types of energy stores and how energy is transferred. Now, obviously, when it comes to energy, there is so much to learn and so much to understand. But what we'll be covering in this video is only for those who are taking the IGCSE Physics syllabus. So what we'll be learning in this lesson is just an overview of these concepts with sufficient knowledge in order to answer the questions in your examinations. So first of all, let's learn about energy stores. Now, energy stores refer to the various ways in which energy can be held or accumulated for later use. So as the name already implies, it's energy that's stored which can be used for something else later. Some of the many forms of energy stored that you need to know are kinetic energy, gravitational potential energy, chemical energy, elastic energy, also known as strain energy, nuclear energy, electrostatic energy, and internal energy, also known as thermal energy. Now let's go through each of these energy stores to have a clearer understanding of what they are. Now, kinetic energy is the energy of motion. So anything that moves has kinetic energy. So for example, a rolling ball, a moving car, or a swinging pendulum are all moving, therefore they possess kinetic energy. By the way, some students have questioned why kinetic energy is an energy store, and the reason why they question it is because it's moving and they see motion as a way of energy transfer or a way of having useful energy, so it's not being stored. You can think of it as, even though the object is moving, it's still a form of energy store because this kinetic energy could then be potentially converted into another form. For example, it could convert into thermal energy due to the friction or air resistance. Gravitational potential energy is energy due to the height of the object's location. For example, a raised object like a book on a shelf. So the greater the height of the object's location, the more gravitational potential energy it has. Chemical energy is stored in the chemical bonds of atoms and molecules. So we'll find chemical energy in things like food, batteries, or fuels like petrol or biofuel. Elastic or strain energy is energy that's found in stretched or compressed objects. For example, a stretched rubber band or a compressed spring. So you'll find that when you stretch or compress these items, there seems to be a little bit of tension because it's holding energy and the energy is waiting to be converted to other forms. That's elastic or strain energy. Sometimes it's known as elastic potential energy. Nuclear energy is released from the nucleus of an atom during nuclear reactions. Some examples of nuclear energy include energy from the sun, which is produced through nuclear fusion, or energy produced in nuclear power plants, which is produced through nuclear fission. Electrostatic energy is energy that's found in electric fields. For example, if you take a balloon and you wipe it with a piece of cloth, you'll find that it is able to attract small items like small pieces of paper. And the electrostatic force that exists is what's generating electrostatic energy. Internal energy, also commonly known as thermal energy, is energy that exists due to temperature and it exists within objects. So you'll find that internal energy or thermal energy examples include warmth from the sun, a hot cup of tea, or even a bonfire. So all of these are energy stores because they're being stored inside an object and have the potential to be transferred or converted into other forms that are potentially useful. And now let's take a look at energy transfers. So energy transfer is energy that's transferred between energy stores during events and processes. For example, forces due to mechanical work done, in electrical currents where electrical work is done, through heating, or through electromagnetic, sound, and other waves. Let's take a look at some examples of each of these forms of energy transfer. So let's start first with forces or mechanical work. This energy transfer involves mechanical energy, usually kinetic energy or potential energy. For example, if you were to be lifting a book, there is a conversion of energy from chemical energy in the muscles to gravitational potential energy gained by the books. Pushing a box is also mechanical work because we're applying a force which translates into work done, and that causes a gain in the kinetic energy of the box. So mechanical work normally involves this kind of motion where there is some movement involved. Electrical work is energy transfer that involves electrical energy. For example, a light bulb powered by a battery would have the chemical energy in the battery converted to electrical energy. That means there's current flowing through the circuit. When the electrical energy is carried to the light bulb, this energy is then converted into light energy as well as thermal energy, both of which are being released by the bulb. You can also see this in an electric kettle boiling water. So when we plug in the kettle and let the kettle boil water, the electrical energy from the electrical current will be converted into thermal energy used to heat up the water. Now for heating, it's a transfer of thermal energy from one object to another through conduction, convection, or radiation. If you'd like to learn more about conduction, convection, or radiation, please watch my video about these three concepts under the title of thermal energy transfer. Some examples of this form of energy transfer include a hotter object warming a colder object. For example, you can see we've got ice placed in a hot drink here. Most people think that, oh, the ice is actually cooling the object. And yes, it is. But if we examine what's really happening, it's a transfer of thermal energy from the hot drink into the ice, which is what causes the ice to melt. And because a hot drink is losing heat energy, that's why its temperature is dropping. Another example would be a heater warming up a room. That means there's heat being released from the heater to heat up the air inside the room, and then the hot air circulates, warming up the room. Another form of energy transfer is a transfer of energy via electromagnetic waves. Electromagnetic waves is quite a large spectrum which includes light, infrared, and many others. If you'd like to learn more about electromagnetic waves, please watch my video on the electromagnetic spectrum. A perfect example of this form of energy transfer is a transfer of light and heat from the sun to earth, because light is an electromagnetic wave, while heat is also an electromagnetic wave in the form of infrared radiation. Besides electromagnetic waves, there's also the transfer of energy via sound waves. So for example, sound from musical instruments to an ear. So the sound that's being created in the musical instrument is due to vibrations. For example, vibrations of the guitar strings, or vibration of the drum skin, or vibration of the air inside air instruments like the trumpet. So these vibrations are then transferred into air. So the air particles would vibrate, carrying the sound energy in the form of sound waves to reach the person's ear, where the person's eardrum would pick it up and will also vibrate, therefore sending information to the brain. And that's pretty much it for this video. If you found this video to be educational, do like and comment about how this video has been helpful to you. Subscribe for more free physics lessons and check out some of my videos on other topics which you might find helpful on my YouTube channel. If you'd like to help me keep making free educational video lessons and lab practicals, donations are welcomed at my Ko-fi page. That's ko-fi.com/physicsrocks. For access to notes, quizzes, and syllabus updates, check out my website at physicsrocks.com. Happy studying!